So, sorry. There comes a point in time in everyone's life where, you're like, hey, I want to go get a new car. So, you're out there, you're at let's say you're at a Honda dealership, Toyota dealership or something, and you're like, hey, I need a new car. But then the sales representative comes up to you and you're like, are you looking to buy a car or are you looking to lease a car? And the question comes to you, you're like, I don't know. I don't know, like, what should I do? But I'm here to tell you why you should lease a car instead of buying a car. And the 3 points that I have are for get a brand new car. Your lease payments come out a lot cheaper and it's a lot better, and then maintenance. So when it comes to getting a brand new car, you lease it. Let's say you lease a brand new car, you're able to get a brand new car every 2 to 3 years, depending on your contract. Maybe typical contracts come out to like 24 to 36 months. And I mean, who doesn't want a brand new car? Like every 2 to 3 years, you're like, hey, I'm tired of my car. I'm just gonna go out and get a new car. I'm gonna return my car, and I want the newer model of the car, so I'm just gonna go out and get a new car. So you can do that. And then another reason why, as to getting a brand new car, the second right off you you buy a new car, you take it out a lot, you already lose 9% of depreciation value on the car. So there's really no point. Why should you be losing that percentage if you want to go on later and sell a car if you buy it, when I don't see a point in it, and you can just lease a car and you don't have to worry about the depreciation value whatsoever. Which the depreciation value is not something that you want to go into, and then you don't have to spend a lot of money, which leads to my second point, which is your payments. Your payments on a lease, they're always guaranteed. They're always going to be cheaper than let's say if you were to buy or purchasing a car. They're always going to be a lot cheaper typically, because you don't have to worry about interest fees, a loan, going out and getting a loan from a bank, or you don't have to worry about oh my God, I have $30,000 in debt because of this car, or $40,000 or $50,000 depending on the type of car you want. So when you lease a car, you pretty much you're renting it. You don't really own it. You're just renting out the car, which I see it's I'm not you don't have anything to lose for, and you don't have to go out and put you also don't have to go out and put a lot of money down on it, because essentially all that money you put down on a lease, that's just going back to the dealership. And I know a lot of adults that they're why am I going to give my money to the dealership? Why am I going to give them $3,000 on a down payment on a car I'm literally just going to return back for a newer car? Or I don't even want that brand, and I'm just going to go out and get a different type of car, a different brand vehicle. And with all that, you lead to maintenance. Maintenance on a car, it could run up a lot of money, especially on more expensive, luxurious foreigns per se, like a BMW. The maintenance on that would come out to a lot more than let's say a Honda or something. But when you lease a car, warranty, it's guaranteed. You're always going to get warranty. So any little problem, any little oil change or something, you take it out. You just take it, set up an appointment with the dealership. You take it. You don't have to pay for it because warranty is already included with your loan deal, your loan contract. So you don't have to worry about that. And then that saves you a lot of money, thousands of dollars per se. And the car isn't even going to have a lot of problems either, just due to the fact that it's a new car. Typically new cars don't really have many problems. But all in all, I would personally have to say that leasing a car would come out to be a lot better, due to you get a brand new car every 2 to 3 years. You don't have to worry about a big long-term contract, or really expensive monthly bills, monthly payments on it, and then the maintenance, it's all included inside the lease. So leasing is the way to go.
Crystal, you here?
Yes.
What did you think?
I think it's good. We did not good eye contact, but I didn't hear any citations or an attention grabbers.
Okay. Yeah, there isn't much of an attention grabber. There needs to be something a little bit more interesting than that. But there is a good preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. I thought that that was fine. I think you need to have a little bit more background on the leasing issues so that people understand it more. At one point, you suggested that there's no money down like you would be doing if you were making a car payment. But my understanding is on leases that you frequently have a large down payment that you have to make to insure your lease. So it's not like you just walk in and say, well, here's $230 for this month's lease, and you move on from that. I'm not sure that it works that way. If it does work that way, you need to have some authority to explain that it works that way, and that's a little bit unclear. On your first point, you've basically got a visualization of having a new car every couple of years, which sounds fine, I guess. It's primarily an emotional appeal that you're making here. I think you could do something that make it a lot more interesting, but you just kind of talk about how you get bored with the car, or you want something new give me the newer model. And I'm going, okay, that's a hypothetical. That's about as far as it goes. The depreciation issue, I like the idea that there's a loss of value in the car if you're purchasing it immediately, and that you don't have the same kind of impact, economic impact, if you're if you're using a lease. That makes sense, although of course there's no equity. The car doesn't have any value to you other than what you're using it for, and you might point out that people don't really need to have value in their car unless they were going to take a loan against it, or unless they plan on selling it down the road. You're really just paying for the use of the vehicle, and that this is probably a good strategy. I think you could probably find some information to support that. The notion, like I said, the description about the things on the lease and how costly it is, there's no comparative data on how much a lease is versus how much a car purchase is. At the end of the car purchase, you have a car that you own and you've got equity in it. At the end of a lease, you just have to sign another lease and get another car. So it's like perpetual payments. And that may not be a big deal to people, and maybe that's what you need to do, is show that people already, if they bought a second car, or they're switching out in their car, even when they own their car, when they switch it out, they're selling it and buying another car, there's still going to be a payment that they're making. So that's why there's a more comparable sort of thing with the lease. I think that would be a good way of making that argument. On the maintenance issue, I don't know enough about leasing to say what maintenance is going to be covered. Obviously, stuff that's warranted is going to be covered because it's a relatively new car. Other kinds of things, though, there might be costs. For instance, damage if there is an accident. I assume that you're responsible for that. Like I said, it depends, I suppose, on the lease, what kinds of coverage you get and what kinds of vehicle you buy. Some vehicles you buy, they come with maintenance issues when you buy them. Some don't, and you need to explain. When you're looking for a lease, you should be looking for one that has all of these features in it. And here's the one. Here's the BMW, or here's the Toyota that has this kind of program. And give us some description and detail about those examples. As it is, it's a little bit generic here in nature. It's reasonably well presented. I think you're okay. So it's organized. It's well presented. Content needs to be developed a little bit more. I think you could do more comparison, and you could make it a little bit more interesting as well. All right, thank you.